Hello boys and girls, once again in the garden again today, and as mentioned on a previous show, one of my sunflowers is in full bloom now. Nice and high it is as well, must be about 6 foot high now. The one next to it on one side of the garden, because I've got two on one side of the garden and one on the other side of the garden, and they are, the other one is about to open. It's kind of tiny little yellow head it's got, and that is just starting to open. They're both quite tall, but not as tall as the ones that are kind of next to the house, one of which is a good over 8 foot tall, and it's over halfway up the house, and that one's waiting to open as well. So it's all looking nice in the Reardon garden at the moment, where we are today. Welcome along, my name's Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk. Oh, I've got to make a little adjustment, just a minute. United Kingdom Talk, our 3 times a week talk show, coming to you from Bracknell in Royal Berkshire. I had a scare a couple of days ago. A real big scare. Oh, you're waiting to hear what it is, aren't you? I shall tell you, don't worry, don't rush me. Don't want to peak too early. Am I crooked? Those of you watching, am I kind of lopsided today? Oh, I don't know. Let me have a quick look. Because I did this the other day. I've bought this new... I am, aren't I? Am I crooked? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to be leaning to one side while you watch it. There we are. I think that might be better. I don't know. Don't want to be leaning to one side, those of you watching it on YouTube. I became aware on the last show, I think, that I was a little bit leaning to one side. I've got this new tripod, okay, which I use just for outside. And to be honest, it was a bit cheap, okay, at about £12.99. And it does what it says on the packet. You put the camera on the top and it's supposed to straighten it out. But one thing it hasn't got is those little, what are they called? Little bubbles, little bubble things that they put on the tripod so that you know it's straight. Now, it's got one going one side from back to back to front, but it hasn't got one going from left to right. So I am concerned that I am lopsided today. I don't think it's too bad, is it? If you're watching. If you're listening and you've never watched a show, you can do that by simply going to unitedkingdomtalk.tv on the internet, unitedkingdomtalk.tv, and there you will always find the latest show, with the new shows coming on that site on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays. Okay, well, as I say, I had a nasty shock the other day. Oh, you want the story, don't you? I can tell. If you've got any stories like this, I want them as well, by the way. So, I'm on my bicycle. Now, during the daytime, if I'm doing something about town, I get the bike out of the shed. The car very, very rarely comes out unless there's, I fancy doing, you know, a mega shop. Like getting a lot of shopping at the same time, or I've got a large item to bring home. But it's extremely rare that I ever bring the car out during the daytime. I mean, we can't afford to put the diesel in it, dear. The wear and tear on the car, it's just more and more expense, isn't it, eh? It really is. So, I am on the bike. I've got these shorts on. The same shorts recently that I lost that £40 in. Do you remember I told you that a few shows ago? Huh? When I sat down I ordered this pizza. This was in Birmingham. Paid for the pizza out of my little zip-up money holder. Sat down on a chair, waited for the pizza. The man called me, I collected the pizza, off I went. 2 hours later, oh, where's my little money thing gone? Realised what had happened. I'd sat on the chair, it had fallen out of the pocket. These shorts are renowned for things falling out of the pocket. Incidentally, if you're wondering, can you hear that noise? Is that an animal or a child? I'm not quite sure. It's very noisy, whatever it is. Shall I say shut up? Very strange noises. Is it an animal or children playing? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so So I'm on my bike, got on the bike, I put the keys and my money in a little back thing on the back. I've got bags. Oh, yes, I've got bags on my bike. Panniers, dear. I've got panniers on the back, a little bag on the which sits above the rear wheel. No, there's no basket on the front, if you're wondering. I'm not the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. No, I'm not. Pardon? Who said I'm a witch? How rude you are sometimes. So I'm on my bike, these bits in the back, cycling into Bracknell town. Got to the town centre, jumped off the bike and took my keys out and took my money out and locked the bike. Always important to lock your possessions, my darlings. Evil thieves are probably watching this at the moment, wondering where I leave my bike when I'm in town. Don't worry, it's locked. It's locked, OK? You're not getting the nasty little hands on my bike. So did that. First of all, so I got my things out of the... got my bits and pieces out of the bag. And I also had a Sainsbury's recyclable carrier bag, one of those bags for life, you know, the cloth ones. Oh, aren't they marvellous, dear, eh? Marvellous. They just go on forever and ever, don't they? Amen. I mean, I wonder if my nieces and nephews and their children will be using that same bag as I did. Perhaps I'll pass it on as an artefact. You know, and in 800 years' time, someone's children's children will be using this bag and said, yes, this was from a very famous radio and international television star, Chris Reardon, who was a member of our family, and we're still using it. Marvellous. We like the bag for life from Sainsbury's and all good other supermarkets. So I got the bag out and I put my money in there and I put my keys in my shorts pocket. I then went to the bank to put some money in. Oh, yes, we only put money in the bank. I've got a very special account with my bank that gives me one of those cards, and I can put money in, but I'm never, ever allowed to take it out. It's just not permitted. I mean, if I was to take money out, the entire, I mean, it's bad, in a bad enough state now, but the entire mortgage lending system here in the UK would come to an abrupt halt. They rely on me to provide almost all of their money, the mortgage systems and the banks in it. So I have a special account that allows me to put money in, but never, ever allows me to take money out. The cat's just appeared. Good morning, Katie. Are you coming on my lap? Up you come, then. Come on. Come on in. You'll have to jump up. I'm not lifting you. You're too heavy today. She's putting on a bit of weight, the cat. Katie. Katie. Come on. Up you come. Up you come. Up you come. Here she comes. Oh, no, no. She thought about it then. The two paws came up. It looked like it was about to jump, but it didn't. Are you coming up then, or what? Come on. Katie. Katie. Up you come. Come on. Up you come. Oh, come on, girl. She's now standing by my legs, pushing herself against them. Come on, up you come. Up. Yes? No? Oh, poor old thing. I don't think she can get up here. Are you getting old? You getting old? Katie? Come on, girl. Come on, jump. Oh, please yourself. Cat's not making an appearance today, I'm afraid. So, gone in the bank. I got my money out of my little zip-up thing. I put the zip-up thing on this machine because they've got this special machine in the bank that you can put money in. It's actually inside the branch. You don't have to put the money in an envelope or anything. It's all very clever. You put it in this little slot and it gradually draws the money into the machine, counts it, and then tells you how much you've put in. Very, very clever. And while I'm doing that, I did have a lucky escape there one time. What I tend to do, probably incorrectly, is I take the money out of my zip-up thing and the card that you have to put in the machine so that it knows who you are. Then I put the thing on top of the machine, let it do its stuff for the money, push a button, the card comes out, put it in my pocket and walk out. Now, there has been occasion where I've left my little money thing on top of that machine and gone back a few minutes later and said, oh, did I leave something here? And it has been there twice. You know, they have found it twice, so I've been lucky there. So I did that. Then I went to a charity shop to hand some books in. I had a lot of books. I don't know if I remember mentioning that to you. I got rid of a load of books last week. Ones that I'd already read, or perhaps Christmas presents that I didn't want over the years. And I thought, well, maybe they can sell those and make some money for one of the charity shops. So I'd had already loaded those up on the bike. They were quite heavy. Well, a great big bag full of these books. And I handed those into the charity shop. I said, oh, well, hello, I've got some books for you. Oh, she said, oh, thanks very much. And she took them out of the bag, and that was it. And so she said, thank you very much. And I walked on. I came out of that shop and I noticed a new charity shop which says furniture and electricals. Now, I think it was being run by the British Heart Foundation. It does what it says on the tin. I think they do all sorts of things that have something to do with your heart. So I went in there and I had a little look around in there, and they had lots of television sets, all old type of televisions. You know, the old cathode ray tube ones with the great big backs to them, which actually I've got 3 of those in the house. I don't believe in upgrading every time something new comes along, unless it makes a huge difference to whatever to whatever I'm doing. For example, I say recently, in the last 10 years, I suppose now, it must be quite a while now, we recently changed over from a square television set to the widescreen, the long television sets, didn't we? Now, I did change for that because I could see lots of difference, you know, a bigger picture. And besides, the TV companies were starting to make everything in widescreen. And it did start looking a bit stupid, having those black bars at the top and bottom all the time. So quite a few years ago, I decided to upgrade one of my televisions to one of the widescreen ones. So that's fine. But I didn't upgrade when it went to flat screen. I just don't see the point of that. Apart from the fact that it might save you, I don't know, 6 inches of space. Apart from that, what are the benefits? I don't think there are any. The picture on a lot of these flat screen sets, I have to say, certainly doesn't look as good as my Sony widescreen television, which has got to be at least 10 years old now. So I don't see the point of that. So I didn't upgrade, even though sometimes I know some of those flat screen televisions are very, very big now. You get 54 inches, can you get? I mean, that's a lot of inches to get in, isn't it? It really is. I mean, could you get 54 inches in? No, I didn't think you could. I mean, I'd have a damn good try. I really would try and get a 54-inch television in to my living room, and I think I'd have enough room. Some people who live in flats, right, and they've got one of these big televisions in the corner of the flat, and it just doesn't look right. It's like, you know, sometimes you see this, you know, are they getting this to watch, or are they getting this to try and impress people? Oh, look at my big television in the corner. And it just looks completely out of place. Does it to you? My sister, she's got a very, very large telly. She's had a number of years. The picture is starting to go now. And it's one of those back projector ones. And it's not, I mean, she's had that a few years, but it is on the way out now. So I think they're probably get one of those big flat screen ones. I tell you what, I would buy if they ever bring out holographic televisions. I'd quite like that, you know, where you'd be sitting in the room, surrounded by the film. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Holographic televisions, but I guess they're still working on that one. So anyway, I'm in this British Heart Foundation, very large furniture and electrical shop, charity shop, which incidentally is the old Woolworths in Bracknell. We did have a Woolworths, a very large Woolworths in Bracknell. Sadly, all the Woolworths closed down last year, didn't they? And that was sad. Although I gather they're doing some stuff online now. Woolworths, is it woolworths.co.uk? They're now selling stuff online. So the name is still there. I wonder if in years to come, the Woolworths name will be back on the high street. perhaps the online shops will start doing, the online Woolworths will do so well that the name would be reintroduced on the high street. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Eh? Anyway, so I'm in the shop and I'm looking at all these televisions and they're dirt cheap. Cheap? You don't know the meaning of the word cheap. They have the great big televisions there, 32-inch wide, for like £20. Really very, very cheap televisions in there. And they had some other bits and pieces, furniture, and they had some chairs and settees. And the chairs and the settees, they were quite well priced as well. Now, remember, most of them are second-hand. They did have some new items in there as well. This is the British Heart Foundation charity shop in Bracknell. And yeah, a very large shop, very well stocked, I would say. Most of the stuff second-hand and some brand new stuff as well. All being sold to make money for the British Heart Foundation, right? So I sat on a couple of these chairs and settees and, you know, just had a little feel about it. And I thought, it might be quite nice to have a settee in the Mirable, in the new Britannia studio. I think we're going to call it Britannia Studio. I haven't decided yet. Where we've got all the background, which obviously I'm not in there today because I'm in the garden. But it would be quite nice to have a settee, I thought. Then I remembered that actually there probably isn't enough room for a settee unless I move the glass cabinet to one side, which those of you that watch the show at UnitedKingdomTalk.tv will have seen that. So after milling around in there for a little bit, I got up and I left. So I'm walking round Bracknell Town Centre. Where did I go then? Oh, then I went up and rather naughtily purchased a cheese and veg pasty. This is in Bracknell Town Centre from a place called, oh now what's it called? I think it's the Sandwich Company. There's kind of two bakers in Bracknell Town Centre. One is Greg's and one I think is the Sandwich Company. I think that's what it's called. Now Greg's are by far much, much cheaper than the Sandwich Company. And usually I will go in Greg's. But this time I went in the Sandwich Company shop because they do a really nice cheese and veg pasty. Now, it is advertised as large, and I suppose it is reasonably large, but it's not that big. Just like a normal sized pasty, it looks to me. And it's quite well filled. The only thing is the price of it. £2.30, dear, for one pasty, which I think is way, way over the top. I'd be happy and I wouldn't begrudge giving £1.50 for that, or £1.50. £2.30 is a hell of a lot to pay for pasty, don't you think? One pasty, cheese and veg, the Sandwich Company, £2.30, dear. So I quickly looked in my pocket and wondered if I would need to take out a new mortgage for this particular pasty. I mean, it's all very nice in there. They've always got lots of staff and you never really have to wait very long. But I do feel rather peeved at paying £2.30 for one pasty. But there you go, that's the way it is. So I bought one of those. You see, they do a cheese and onion pasty in Greg's. And I think they do two of those for £1.50, right? But they don't do the cheese and veg pasties, unfortunately. So that's why I went next door. And I thought, I felt my body needed some more vegetables in it to start mashing around and giving me the fibre that we all need. It's no good for you sitting there eating burgers and hot dogs all day long. You've got to mix it up with a few fruit and vegetables, you know. Very, very important. You know that. So I'm munching away on this cheese and veg pasty, sort of kind of looking in some shops here and there and everywhere. And then I thought, right, well, I've got my bits and pieces now. I'm now going to go back and I'll go swimming. Because I left in my bag my towel and my trunks and my shower gel, which was a little bit dangerous when you think about it. If people had known a celebrity like myself was walking around the shops and had left his towel, swimming trunks, as that had been attached to his bare body, and shower gel. They might have known that was in the back of my bike and stolen it, and you could see it advertised on eBay, couldn't you, or somewhere like that. Trunks, as worn by internationally famous and acclaimed radio presenter Chris Reardon. Starting offer, £2,500. I mean, I can see something like that. Possibly on the same scale as mementos from Michael Jackson or Elvis Presley, although I'd like to point out that I'm not actually dead yet. I have no intention of dying for at least 2,500 years. I will possibly go on, I may have an extension to that even. You could see people wanting my swimming trunks, or not my swimming trunks, my swimming shorts. We've had to come out of swimming trunks now, because quite honestly, with a 36 size waist, they're starting to look like an elastic band round my waist and legs. You know. And I don't want hairs protruding. Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So swimming shorts, which are quite faded. I bought those on eBay myself for about £3.50. Yes, we don't spend money on clothes, you know that. So, walked back to the bike, put my bag back in the bag, put my hand in my pocket. Oh, must have the keys in the bag. You know where this is going now, don't you? Looked in the bag. Oh, keys are not in there. Maybe they're in the other pocket. Hand in other pocket, and then it dawned on me. Oh my God, you've lost your keys. How many of you have been in that situation before? Forget about losing money. Even if one is really poor and could do with every penny that they've got, money can always be got back at some point reasonably easy. Even if it's a lot of money, you don't worry so much about losing money, or indeed credit cards, as you would when it suddenly dawns on you, oh my God, I've lost my keys. I went through all the bags on the bike, kept going in the same pockets in my tracksuit, checked my shirts, in my shorts rather, checked my shirt, no keys. I'm looking around me on the floor now. No keys. And I thought, where on earth have my keys gone? I then started to retrace my steps. Now, it wasn't a particularly busy day in Bracknell town centre. So I was able to see a lot of the pavement in front of me. And I'm kind of sweeping my head from left to right, trying to see a shiny object on the pavement somewhere. Couldn't see a thing anyway. And I thought, maybe I've left them in the charity shop where I handed the books in. Because I literally put the bag of books on the desk, and the very nice young lady behind the desk, she then took the books out, thanked me. I picked the recyclable Sainsbury's carrier bag back up again and left the shop. But I thought, I better not rush there, because if I rush there and the keys are on the floor somewhere, I might well miss them. So I took my time, didn't break out into a blind panic, sweeping my head from side to side, searching the floor for these keys. Nothing. Eventually, I got to the charity shop. And I walked in there, and I says, I'm sorry to trouble you, dear. Did I leave my keys in there? She said, no, I don't think so. I've only got the books. She said, look, they're down there. And there on the floor was my large pile of books that I handed over so they can make money for the charity. No keys. And I said, oh, well, thanks very much. If you see any, I'll keep them aside and I'll pop back in again. She said, OK, so that was it. So I came out the shop and I thought, now, where on earth? Then I remembered that I'd bought a pasty. So I turned around and started walking to the pasty shop, and then it dawned on me. I'd gone in the other charity shop that sells the furniture and the electrical items. And now I remember sitting down in one of the chairs, and I thought, I know exactly what's happened. I've sat down on the chairs, and these damn shorts I've got, the keys have just dropped out of the pocket. And I started wondering how lucky I felt, how much luck was with me on that day. I then walked at a reasonable pace towards the other shop, which was actually quite close to the other one, continuing to look at the pavement, sweeping from side to side, trying to spot anything shiny. I got into the British Heart Foundation shop in Bracknell, the big one, that as I say, is taken over from Woolworths there. I've got that same site. Went straight to the settee that I'd sat on, looked down, and there, on the left of the settee, almost falling down in between the cushions, were my keys. Oh, and you don't want to know the elation that I felt when I picked those keys up. Because, of course, most of us carry around everything on one set of keys, don't we? The only thing I don't have, I actually take out two lots of keys. I have one bunch, the large bunch, which includes 3 keys for the front door, my bike lock key, suitcase keys, and various other keys for all sorts of different things. And I do have another key singly on its own on a key ring, which is the car key. Now, the reason that's not attached to the big bunch is because I don't always take the car out. And I tend to be fairly careful with things when I take them out. If I was to lose a big bunch of keys and I didn't have my car with me, you see, that means I've also lost the car key, doesn't it? So the car key, when I go out with the car, I kind of have 2 lots of keys on me. One is the big bunch of keys, and the other one is the car key, and that's separate. So I didn't have that with me. Okay, I leave that at home if I'm not taking the car out. But when I found those keys, oh, it was just like a huge weight lifted from me. Years ago, I did lose... No, what happened years ago? I remember years ago, I locked myself out. I left the keys on the side, went out the front door to do some stuff, and suddenly and the door slammed shut, and I had to get a locksmith out that day, which cost £100, and that would be, about 12 or 13 years ago now, a long time ago now. So it's not impossible to get back in, but the locks that I'd have to have changed, you know, so many different locks, it would cost a few £100 to do that. So thank God for that. So I picked up the keys. I did go over to the desk where they were to explain that I'd just come to pick up my keys and that I wasn't actually stealing anything, that I was so busy helping people that I didn't wait, and I just walked out with my keys, and that was that. Went back to the bike. Instead of going swimming, I then went out and celebrated by having my hair cut. I have had my hair cut recently. I'm looking quite hard. Number 1 crop all over, yes. Looking quite hard, I think. It's quite a nice feel having that on your hair. You know, like I don't know what sort of, not like a furry feel. I don't feel like my cat. I haven't got fur growing on my head or anything out like that. Not even on my back as well. Oh, don't we hate that, ladies? Men with hairy backs. Oh, I don't like that at all. Men with hairy backs. So there we are. Very, very lucky at all that I found my keys. Very, very, very lucky. But do you remember, have you lost your keys before and either found them or never found them again? Did you take action by changing all your locks in the house? What on earth did you do? And how did you feel when you lost those keys? Let me know about it. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Have you ever lost your keys and either found or not found them again? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. If you're listening to the show on the radio and you haven't got email, you can send in a letter and tell me about your activities on that one. Tell us about your lost keys. When you realised you'd lost your keys and you've never found them again, what did you do? Did you change all your locks? Or were you kind of miles away and decided, well, no one knows they're my keys, so I'll just carry on? Have you ever lost your keys? Where was it? What happened? And what did you do about it? Let me know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Do you leave keys with neighbours? Do you have your keys hidden somewhere? I don't know, around the house, maybe under a mat or under a flower pot? Do you do that? Do you really feel safe doing that? Because I wouldn't. I wouldn't leave my keys under a pot just in case I forgot mine. I mean, it's just an ideal opportunity for a burglar to get in, isn't it? Or maybe you've got somewhere else you hide your keys. Where do you hide your keys? Now, there has to be a certain amount of trust in this one, I'm afraid, doesn't there? I will not say who you are if you tell me where you hide your keys. Actually, no, I don't want you to. No, you better not tell me. Because if you're broken into, then I'll be the main suspect then, won't I? I beg your pardon, I've never burgled a house in my life. How rude are you? You've got nothing I want, dear. You heard about the gay burglar, didn't you? Yep. He broke into someone's house. He didn't actually steal anything. But when the people came back later, they saw that the door was still open, all the ironing had been done, the place had been dusted, hoovered, and the windows had been cleaned. I wish it was like that in my house, dear. I may be on the other bus, but I wish I had the mannerisms of most of the other gay people that I know. Oh dear, I just live my life in chaos, and it's clean. I mean, I went mad last night. I had a night off. I cleaned the kitchen floor. You probably do that 2 or 3 times a week, don't you? And mine's lucky to get done once every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe monthly. Not only that, but I also revealed the surfaces that I have in the kitchen that had been missing for a while due to things, bits of paper, bits of money, pots and pans, all left on the top. I can't be bothered to put stuff away. Well, actually, one of the reasons I can't put stuff away is because the cupboards are not organised. I cannot organise. I really can't. I don't know how I manage to get this show out 3 times a week sometimes. I can't do that. I also caught up on some paperwork last night. Right, the postal address then. Tell us about you losing keys. I bet some of you have, haven't you? You must have lost keys before. Someone has lost keys before. What happened? Did you find them or did you never find them again? And what did you do? The postal address is Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk, P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG429ED. Once again, my postal address is Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk, P.O. Box 4073, Bracknell, Bracknell, RG429ED, United Kingdom. All right? Lost keys. And anything else, of course, that you want to chat about. Especially, do we have anyone who's never written in before, perhaps? Never contacted the show? How about you? Have you lost your keys before? Here's your opportunity. If you've been kind of sitting there wondering, oh, I'd like to send an email, but I don't know what about. How about lost keys or anything else that you might have lost? What's the second worst thing to losing keys? It's not money, is it? Pets. Who's lost a pet before? A dog, a cat, a budgerigar. I don't suppose anyone for this moment has ever lost a goldfish, have you? I mean, they can hardly jump out of the... Well, actually, they have, don't they too, don't they? There has been many cases of goldfish jumping out. Actually, I think we had one once. I'm sure there was a couple of times we had a goldfish and went to the bowl in the morning and it's not there, and there it is on the carpet, either dead or wriggling, depending on the length of time it's been out. Goldfish. Have you had a goldfish that's jumped out of the bowl before? Definitely, I'm sure. I'm going to have to ring up my sister about that. I'm sure we had a goldfish once that kept jumping out of its bowl. I mean, do they just want to die? What's all that about? Huh? But have you lost a pet? And I don't even mean that in a joking way. To lose one's pet is like losing a member of the family, isn't it? The cat that... And it seems to be cats more than dogs. Has anyone ever lost a cat or a dog? And did you find that? Or did you never find it again? Which is an awful, awful thing. Seems to happen a lot when people move. When I had a lodger here about 12 years ago, he had a lovely black cat. Name was Calm. Beautiful cat it was, and it lived here with us. And then one day it went missing. We didn't find it for days. And then about 3 or 4 days later, the lady had moved into his old house, rung up and says, your cat's turned up. Now, he doesn't live 100 miles away, or he didn't live 100 miles away from here. It was about 3 miles up the road, across a very, very busy road, the A329, which is the main road out of Bracknell to the M3. It had to have crossed that road. How on earth did that cat find its way home? Have you got any stories like that about your pets? Did you lose your cat? I don't mean did it die. Did you just lose your cat or dog? Or maybe Budgie. We had Budgie. We had a Budgie that flew out. We lost a Budgie like that. We left the door open and off it went, never came back again. I mean, you'd think they'd be happy sitting in there in that warm living room, being fed and watered 24 hours a day. We used to let it out in the living room when we lived in our flat in our masonette in Roehampton. Used to fly happily around the living room. And then one day I left the door open and it went. Oh, must have got fed up with me talking to it, I think. Pet stories, come on. Ever lost a pet? Let me know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. On to some emails then. Hello to Scott, who's an expert on all video things. Hello, Scott. And he says, on the subject of your new studio, get rid of the plant, Chris, before it wraps around your neck and chokes you to death. Love the new studio setup. Keep up the great work. From Scotty on Tybee Island. Tybee Island, isn't it? Tybee Island in the US of A. Thank you, Scott. Nice to hear from you, sir. I hardly hear from you again now. Hang on a minute. We were supposed to start off with an email we didn't finish last time, weren't we? There it is. There it is. This one was from Mark S. Hello, Mark, who runs autumnlake.com, if you want to have a little look at that. Makes calendars and all sorts of beautiful things. autumnlake.com. We started off this email at the end of the last show. So I'll just read that bit again because it's only 4 lines. Hi, Chris. I know exactly how you feel about getting lost on a trip. We were talking about what it's like to get lost as a human, not as a pet. That's on a future show, hopefully, if you're sending those emails, okay? He says it can be a real worry. I hate getting lost. The real fear is, oh my God, I don't know where I am or where I'm going. What do I do? Of course, you're not really as bad off as it feels, but it can make one feel very helpless, as it does with me. As I've said before, Mark, I break out into a cold sweat when I know I'm lost. And I get lost so easily. So easily. That's why I bought that. That's why I spent £700 on that satnav years ago when they first came out. And you get much better ones now for £80. But I do not begrudge paying out that £700 because it's got me out of situations so many times now where I would have been going round and round in circles. Mark says, a few years ago, I was driving home on the freeway on a snowy night and I missed my exits. Panic! I pulled off at an exit and went into a gas station to ask for directions. There was a truck driver in line behind me at the counter and he pointed out I could just get on the freeway from there and go in the other direction to get to my exit. Naturally, I felt kind of dumb for missing the obvious, but he didn't laugh at me or rub it in or anything. Cheers for him. Well, yeah, I mean, I know. The other thing is, when I've been driving in Florida, I'm now going back 20 years, and we got lost. There was me, my ex-wife, and my son. And we were driving from Disney. And somehow we'd managed to get lost. And we're just on this road going further and further and further. And I had no map. There was no one to ask. And it was getting darker and darker. And it didn't seem to be a main road. This was a... I'm just trying to picture it in my mind now, but I can't because it was not a nice experience. And I think the mind tends to shut off things that aren't nice experiences, aren't they? I was in Florida somewhere, and we must have been driving an hour along this road, waiting for a sign that we recognised to say, I don't know, Disney or hotel or something like that. And we didn't come across anything. Eventually, I turned into this place where there were lots of houses. And we stopped outside a house where there was kind of a lady and some teenagers. And I said, oh, I'm ever so sorry, I'm lost. Can you tell me how to get to so-and-so? And they were very helpful. And I was so scared that this was happening. I didn't let my ex-wife and son know this, of course. I was absolutely terrified. I was never going to find my way back to civilization again. It's true. Anyway, we did. I think we had to turn around and go the other way, so it was another hour's drive back the other way. And all this time, of course, you're watching the fuel gauge as well, aren't you? And the fuel is getting lower and lower. Oh, that's the worst one, I think. That's got to be the worst one, that time in Florida. That's why I don't, one of the reasons I don't travel so much anymore. I just hate getting lost and all that. I hate it. Mark says, I have a satnav now, but it's still in the box because I don't really travel much. I got it because I wanted to go job hunting in a city a few hours away and knew I'd need help getting around. Usually, if I have to get somewhere I don't know, I print out an itinerary from Google Maps or MapQuest and highlight everything with a fluorescent marker. But trying to read that while changing lanes is simply not on. So hopefully the satnav will help with that when and if I ever use it. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there. Now, my sister actually swears by these direction things that you can now get off the internet, either with Google Maps. You just type in where you are and where you want to go, and you do get this whole list of instructions on what to do. Turn right at M3 past Junction 11 and all that. But two things there, Mark. Yes, it is very difficult to look at this thing while you're driving along. So, I mean, you could say then, well, why don't you pull over and read a few instructions and then remember those? I just don't remember them. That's the thing. I don't remember the instructions more than a line ahead. And even, right, if I look down at the instructions, if I pull over and look down at the instructions and it says turn right in 2.5 miles, right, I'll then set off on the car, and within a few minutes I'm thinking, oh, how long is it since I started this bit of the journey? Or Where was it I have to turn right? I just don't remember. I do not retain that knowledge in my head. I don't know how actors and actresses ever remember lines. How do you learn lines for shows? That's why I could never do this show with a script. I just wouldn't remember what I was doing. I cannot retain that information in my sad little head. Terrible, isn't it? So, yes, I mean, my satnav is a wonderful device. Possibly the best device I've ever bought for myself, helping me around, the satnav. It's a nice noise, isn't it? Can you hear that? Some bird making strange noises. Now, I was also saying about sometimes when you use the keyboard and I hit the wrong key, I hit the semicolon instead of the comma or the little exclamation mark. So I can't remember what it is now. What's that comma at the above? You know when you put S just before S, say it's television, televisions, and it's got that little thing at the top. What is that? It's not a comma, is it? Oh, you know what I mean. And we were saying, sometimes, whenever I'm typing, I seem to miss that button on the keyboard. Mark says, as for missing keys when I type, I find I constantly forget to capitalise the letter I. I know I'm hitting the shift key, but I don't hold it down long enough when I'm typing very quickly. That, and I constantly misspell the same words by transposing digits or hitting an extra letter, always the same ones. Yes. Yeah, Mark, that's exactly the same for me. I always, instead of getting this little comma, what is it? Is it a hyphen? It is, isn't it? It's a hyphen. Instead of getting the hyphen at the top comma thing, instead of getting that, I always seem to get the semicolon. Always. I'll do that 10 times a day. And I do type very quickly, just with the two fingers, mind. Mark says, anyone else do that? Do you hit... Is there a specific wrong keys that you keep hitting on your computer keyboard? Let me know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. By the way, for your new studio space, since you can't call it the Mirable Studio, I vote for the Mirable Lounge. I did think perhaps Reardon's Fortress of Solitude, but I like the Mirable Lounge better, and that's from Mark S. from Autumn Lake. Hello, Mark. Lovely to hear from you. Mark has been with us a couple of years now, haven't you, I think? And he always manages to send me a beautiful one of his calendars at Christmas time, which is always much appreciated. Thank you, Mark. Nice to hear from you, sir. I don't want to get these emails out of sequence here, actually. That's better. There we are. Right. Ah, look who it is. It's DJ Demon, also known as Adam. He's the one that I told you about, that all the youngsters fancy at the moment. I don't know why that is, because I can't see it. Okay? They used to fancy me. They all used to fancy me. But now they fancy Demon. Time has moved on. You would have thought they'd want someone a bit more fit and a little bit more rugged than DJ Adam. Or Demon, but apparently not. I look at him and I'm thinking, what is it that he's got that I haven't? And I can't see it. I really can't. I'm not jealous. No, I'm not. Adam says, in response to your talk show in the garden with Pussy on lap and new clip on radio mic. Yes. He says, I lost my brand new TomTom satnav. I lost my brand new TomTom satnav a few weeks ago. Spent £320 on the top of the range European model. Well, why did you get the European model? You're not going all over Europe, are you? Why on earth would you ever want to leave the United Kingdom, dear? He says, and then a further £89 to get the traffic update and safety camera service for the year, and then lost it. That's a lot of money to lose, my friend. So how did he lose it, you're wondering? Did he leave it in the car and it was broken into? No. I either left it on the roof of the car when I got home and took stuff out of the car, or I left it on the windowsill outside my home when I put everything down to get my keys and get the front door open. Not happy. That's a lot of money to lose, that is. Is it £89 a year for all those updates? You see, I belong to this thing where I download safety cameras as points of interest, POIs, and I don't think I don't pay anything like £89. I think it's something ridiculously small, like £12 a year for the safety camera networks, but I don't get traffic updates. On the other hand, Demon, I don't really need them because I don't drive around during the daytime. Very rare that I drive around during the daytime, so I don't think I'd need traffic updates, certainly not for £89 a year. Did the BBC not do a service like that? Or I suppose you'd have to look on the internet and see where the traffic jams are, wouldn't you? Rather than kind of have them streaming into your satnav. Did you buy a new one? Did you buy the same one again? Huh? That's a show. That's a lot. That's a big item to lose. 320 quid. Cool, dear. He says, and sew up your tracksuit pockets so you can't put things in them. Yeah, those dreadful shorts I've got that. I've lost 40 quid and nearly lost my keys out of those. Sew up your tracksuit pockets so you can't put things in them. Or buy some new tracksuit bottoms with deeper pockets. You might have to pay a few pounds extra for deep pockets. Make sure you don't break the bank. Oh, God. No, we've upgraded now to jeans, haven't we? I told you. Look, we've upgraded to jeans now. You won't see me in tracksuit bottoms so much anymore because I went out and bought the size 36 waist jeans, dear. Yes. Have you had any emails in yet about my gorgeous boys in Route 2? And yes, you are jealous. Beg pardon? Beg pardon? Thank you, Demon. Demon works at two of the same places I do, one of which being Route 2 in Birmingham, which we've both only just gone to, and it does appear that it's starting to turn around now. You may remember on I think it was the last show or the one before, I told you we'd changed Fridays, so now on Friday nights we do karaoke, and that seems to have picked up a little bit. Okay, so I've got my fingers crossed on that one, so that one's now turned around. It's a slow uphill thing, but the karaoke certainly was better than anything else we'd been trying in there. So if you ever want to come down to that, it's not that busy at the moment. You'll get plenty of songs in. Be lovely to see you down there. Karaoke on Friday nights at Route 2 in Hurst Street, Birmingham. And it's free entry as well. Sorry, I've got an alarm going off there. Just a minute now. Let me just stop that. Oh, I've hit the snooze button. Is that right? I don't know. You can't hear the other. Can you hear the other alarm going off? Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Most people ignore me anyway. Kate is sitting down on my papers. Yeah, Route 2 in Birmingham, karaoke night, if you're up that way at all, is every Friday night from 10 o'clock, and it's free entry. No charge whatsoever. I won't even ask you to buy me a drink. And even better than the drinking in there, just outside is this place that does the most wonderful cheese hot dogs for just £2.50, dear. Bargain. They're really nice. Really nice. I don't know what their names are, the people in there. They're very nice people in there. Always got time to talk. Not like your usual greasy old van at all. Really clean and nice food in there. And of course, they cook it all in front of you. Cheesy hot dogs with, of course, the obligatory lot of onions and tomato sauce. Thank you very much. Yes, we'll have some of that. Hello to Sean, who says, I'm an American high school teacher from Washington, D.C., and I've recently accepted a position in a school in Essex. I found your show on iTunes and have been watching to familiarise myself with the differences in speech and some of the differences in word usage between America and the UK vernacular. I was wondering what you might be able to tell me about the schools there and live in London in general, and life in London in general. Have you ever been to America? Do you know of any other significant differences? Trying to avoid the culture shock and be as prepared as possible. Thanks. And that's from Sean, the way of the teacher. Well, Sean, yes, there does appear to be big differences between schools in the US and the UK. And I only say that I've never actually been into a school in America. However, when I've seen them on the television, programmes like Fame and Grease and all that, not many people in America, you don't seem to wear uniforms much for a start. And I think I'd be right in saying that most schools in the UK, you have some sort of uniform. And the schools in the States do seem to be a lot easier going and a lot more fun than they were when I was at school. Now, I went to quite a well-known school, the London Oratory School, which is in Fulham. Catholic school, and it was fairly strict. So I don't think I'm the right one to be asking here. Okay? I don't think there's much else I can really tell you about that. You see, I've been out of school for 25 years now, so it must have changed since then, since I last... since I was at school. I don't think I can help you with that one, I'm afraid. Life in London in general? No, pretty much like New York, I suppose. Yeah, pretty much like New York. Essex. I worked in Essex a few times. It's much the same as the rest of the country, I think, Essex. All right, Sean, welcome along to the show, by the way. Sorry I can't help you further with that one. Anyone else want to join in with that one? What's the difference between schools in the UK and USA? If you've been to both, then perhaps you could send us an email and let us know to help Sean there. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Well, time for me to go, boys and girls. Thank you, as always, for watching the show today. I think on the next show, we're going to have a bit of an email catch-up show. Email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.